Hey, welcome.
Hey everybody, welcome.
Welcome to Politics and Wellness. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and co-host.
Mr. Credential.
Ooh, I feel like I'm all close onto the camera. And happy St.
Yeah,
Patrick's
so
Day
you are.
to all of you. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, Miss T Velocity, how you doing? Love you. Patty Duke, Regina M, welcome to the bartenders.
Well,
The beers and beers and leaves chats for Rico and today's sorrow. How you doing? Good evening. Nice to see you. Welcome. Hello. I think did you freeze? I see you, but I don't hear you. You're on mute. There you go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear
Hey everybody, welcome.
you. Welcome to the chat. Welcome. Please hit that thumbs up button as you come in, please. That's just like, knocking and saying hello or wiping your feet. I would appreciate it. 1 second. 1 second.
So how's everybody doing? Cat to get everything together. I don't know what he's doing, but that's okay. How's everybody doing? Thank you all for coming through tonight. It's business as usual. Welcome Regina M. Welcome Rico. Today's Whoa. Regina, Miss T Velocity. So how's everybody doing amidst the? I'm good, Patty Duke. I'm not gonna complain. How's everybody the outbreak of what's doing?
Hey. Welcome. Sorry about that. I had to get some things together. So okay. Um
It's
welcome to
okay.
everybody in the chat. Like I said, thank you so much for coming. Welcome to Politics and Wellness, where we talk about one, politics, two, mental health and wellness. Where to begin? So much stuff has been popping up all day, and thanks to the individuals that have been sending me emails about stuff that I didn't hear about, or I heard a little bit about, and then it all like came at once, but I had already got the update thanks to you guys. So, where do we start? First, let's talk about Joe Biden went in Florida today.
Hmm.
Not sure how that happened. I personally think it was the decision made, basically, from probably the overall absentee ballots or any other kind of data that they had, that they just
Okay.
decided to give it to Joe Biden because it says the decision. They didn't want to have the um, senior citizens, a lot of the senior citizens out voting in public places due to the coronavirus and it posing a threat to um, older individuals.
Right.
So I'm thinking that's along the lines of they went and just basically did. I can find out later, read a little bit more about it, but it just popped up like
Yeah.
seconds
And
before we went live.
with that being said, I just want to let everybody know, in conjunction with what Cap said, if you're not able for some reason to get out to the poll in your state before you need to do whatever because you're in fear of the coronavirus, you can do an absentee ballot, which is going to allow you to cast your vote, right? If you didn't know, I hope that you now know that so that your vote can actually still be counted.
Right, very much so. So please make sure that you vote. by any means necessary, in the words of the late Malcolm X. I believe that our vote has power. Our dollars have power. So, of course, our vote carries the same weight. And we
Yeah.
need to start really taking that power back and not just going with the flow or going with whomever, because they know they have us in our back pocket, but really start demanding change from these people that want our vote so bad.
Right.
Um, so with that, that's what I have just now popping. I mean, of course, well, I'll get into Mitch McConnell. 'Cause that's a whole nother demon. Susan Collins as well. Uh, so yeah, that's what I have coming up. So it should be interesting. And you, sir?
Well, I have a lot of things coming up, and mine are kind of long, so I don't want to preview them. But
Okay.
a lot of things are going to be focused on. I'm not sure how to categorize it, but I have a few good topics. I'll just say that.
Okay. Cool, 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 cool. All right. So let's get into it. Hopefully everybody's had a good day. Hopefully everybody's being safe. Everybody washed their hands before they jumped on this live.
Yes, sanitation is key
All right.
by all means.
Give yourself a little squash, squash, a little rub, rub, and get it going. Or just some regular old soap and water. Uh,
Yes.
is just as fine. But okay, so let's get into some things, as Armand Wiggins would say. Let's first go into Susan Collins.
Okay.
Real brief. Susan Collins, her seat is up come this 2020 election cycle for the state that she represents. Now, however, back in 2009, when, of course, we were in the financial crisis and the stimulus package was, um, you know, an option, she voted to not add $870 million into the pandemic fund. Now, the pandemic fund was created back during the Obama administration for pandemics
Okay.
and to keep the American people safe, as far as helping the countries where it may originate or may have originated from, to help them control it so it doesn't spread. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Mhm.
go to the source, find out what's going on, help them so it doesn't get any further. Of course, this president, whole
Go
nother story.
in the
And
lead.
that press conference, like, real quick, I just want to get into that just really quick. And I'm really not going to give this man too much airtime because he gets enough, too much, if you ask me. But
I don't think that was considered a press conference, really, but I'll let you finish.
no, not really. But for the simple fact that just weeks ago, this man was like, "Oh, it's just like the flu. It should pass when the weather warms up. I'm not concerned about it." Now all of a sudden you're like, "Oh no, we knew it was a pandemic. I always thought it was a pandemic, so I don't know what the problem is." Why? When can we stop this? When can we stop this? When is somebody really just gonna be like, "No, Mr. President, that is not what you said. You said this. Actually, here it goes right here.
Right.
Play." Like,
Right.
when are we gonna do that?
Right.
Because it's
Right.
so much of allowing him to just tell these stories and get this airtime for what? Like,
Right.
what are we doing?
Right.
If you're not gonna allow anybody else to like pass on through with their lives and stories, why should we let him? Like, I don't that part, it drives me crazy. Like,
Right.
watching it drives me crazy because it's like, just a minute ago you were really saying, "Oh, oh, it's no pandemic, da da da, blah blah blah." Like, I was just arguing with not arguing, but kind of debating with my my female best friend. You know her, because I'm like, I don't care what the White House says. I think he has it. I think he has it, but he is never going to say that he has it or confirm it because he doesn't want to look weak. All of this is for him is a win. That is
Right.
all it is. He is not concerned about the people that will live, people that will die, people that will get sick and may have health conditions after this. Um, because we don't know really what the effects it will have on the body after.
Exactly.
So we don't
Exactly.
know.
Exactly.
Um, but there is this sense of oh, I just want to win. I just want to win. Like, and it's like, but there are people's lives in the balance. Like, he won't
Hmm.
even take responsibility that, hey, you dropped the ball on this. You did not, you took it as, oh, well, it's not happening over here, so I'm not going to worry about it. You fired the people in the department that deals with this, in the national security department that deals with pandemics. You fired the whole department, and then when you go, oh, well, you're going to take responsibility. No, it's not my responsibility. It's the responsibility of the past administration. Dude, you've been here for 3 years.
Right.
You only
Right.
get 4.
Right.
So you don't get to pass the buck on everything after a certain time. The first
Right.
year, you could pass that buck.
Right.
Second, third, going into your last term, God willing, you don't get. Sorry, I just had to take a moment.
No, 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 no. It's cool.
You don't get to pass that buck.
Mm-mm.
And as voters, whether you voted for him or not, like that's not my thing. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. But
Right.
my thing is to say that if you did vote for him, then you need to be holding him responsible too. We
Right.
can't keep passing the buck on this man because now all of a sudden he's him and the rest of the Republicans. He's not the only one bringing up now is the xenophobia thing. And if those of you who don't know what xenophobia is, it's racism, but racism towards other countries. So now it's this whole, oh, well, China gave it to us. And now, just to inform the rest of you who don't know, because I did do an article on this the other day, or well, today rather, it's because I do it the night before. So
Okay.
today, Asian Americans have been buying guns and going to gun ranges and really amping up, as long as the rest of other Americans have really been amping up their military, their kind of arsenal, so to speak,
Right.
due to this.
Right.
Because of course, you look at an Asian person like, oh, you got it. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
that was my fear. I know we discussed this once before that I felt that it was going that route because that's what happens. It's the same thing happened 9/11. You had, people of Islamic faith getting tortured
Right.
and brutalized just because. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It wasn't
Right.
like they had anything to do with it. It was you walking in the streets and so there is no sense of calm at the top to even temper down tempers, relax people. It's like, oh no, if I don't know how to control it, or if I know I'm messing up at my job, I'm going to amp it up. I'm going to amp up my racism. I'm going to amp up my bigotry. I'm going to amp it up so that way my supporters, who, and I don't care what you say about me personally, the bigots, they're racist. And they can be of any color. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, that whole
Hmm.
thing, got to be of one color to be a racist. No, you just have to have the thought. The system of racism deals with power, and a lot of
It
these
lives
people
in
don't have
here.
right, and a lot of people don't have the power, so they don't understand it. But
Right.
but from what they understand, because of what they've been shown over the time and over years, oh, we do this, we cause these problems, we are the bad ones. So at least you're not us. At this point, come on. We all know people do crimes, period,
Right.
of
Right.
all races.
Right.
Now, it's funny how there's more of one than it is of the other. And you could sit there and say that all of us, who again make up less than 13 point some odd percent of the population, commit all these crimes. Get out of
Right.
here.
Right.
But it's all of what you present to the people.
Right.
So at that point, I'm gonna get off my
No, no,
soapbox.
no, no, no. I
It
understand
is
because I just the other day I said that I guarantee you, while so many people are scrambling for essentials like toilet paper, paper towels, things like that, I guarantee you
on
that
that.
Trump has toilet paper. And it's not even a second thought, it's not a second guess, it is not even a problem. There is no shortage of toilet paper and there's no shortage of food. The shortage is in the brain cells because some people are brainwashed to go out and buy everything because someone says a state of emergency and they're worried about who's going to get what before
Right.
they get.
Before I get
That's
it.
all it is.
Yeah, that's it. It's like I want to have it before you get a chance to get it. But then at the time, at the end of the day, though, if we were to like sit and really think about it, okay, if the power goes out, what are you going to do with all that meat that you done stored up?
Exactly. Meat, vegetables, or whatever you have.
Anything that needs
It's
to be
perishable.
refrigerated, anything
Yes,
that needs to
it's
be refrigerated,
perishable.
what you going to do with it?
Cook it and have a feast, and then let that go bad within what 72 hours, technically.
Everybody be sitting up there with stomach worms because you don't ate at the time you were supposed to eat it. I mean, I really don't understand. Like, I can get, essentials, maybe like, your alcohol, your peroxide, your stuff that
Right,
you would need in case of burn emergencies, your canned goods, all that kind of stuff that you could just
right,
eat out the can
right.
if necessary.
Cold if you need
Right.
to
If
survive.
necessary. Right.
Right.
But I mean, I wish you could see the rats. And I've been to the store. I wish you could see the
So have
rats.
I. Clear. You can see the dust settled
Right.
on the rack.
Right. You can see something. You like, damn, when the last time they
You
came?
can go.
I don't even know if I want to go back here and meat from this particular establishment
Yes,
because I'm looking at how dirty the thing is that they put the meat
yes,
on.
yes,
I'm just
yes,
saying. Walmart. I'm just saying.
yeah. And many other
And
marks.
many others, right. And many other
Yeah.
markets. But I was just like, and then I'm just like, okay, well, what's the big thing with the toilet tissue? Because I was really confused. I was like,
It's a
okay,
matter of demand. It's just about demand. You're telling me, okay, notebook paper that we used in school for our kids and in college is made from trees. What is toilet paper made of? When
softer
you,
treat.
yeah. So when when you go outside and you see nothing but trees, but then you're telling me that you don't have any toilet paper on the shelves, what are you doing? Hiding it, storing it, waiting out, holding out, so that people the demand for it so you can upcharge and do whatever you need to do. I just saw somebody on Facebook charge for 2 bottles of Dove
Uh, please,
shampoo, $30.
who? Yeah, people are making a killing. Somebody made was it $7,000? That's all. I
I
don't
didn't
quote me.
catch that
I
one.
think it was $7,000 for toilet tissue, hand sanitizer, and some other things. But they had a rack of it because they did couponing, which
Right.
that part I think
Which
was
is
smart. Like
cool,
if you
but
done couponing and you had a whole bunch of extra stuff, then sell it. But then two, where are we going as a people, as a nation? Like where are we going? What are we saying? What are we doing?
right.
Because it's a lot of that gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's we're reaching a certain level that's like totally crazy, and
Yeah.
I don't want with
It
that.
it it is just it's going from one thing to the next, from toilet paper to paper towels, from paper
Mhm,
towels to canned goods, from canned goods to
mhm.
dried food, from dried
Right,
food to just the next thing. Now we're at alcohol. Not
right, right,
rubbing, but drinking alcohol.
right,
Now the vodka's starting to come off of the
right,
shelf.
right.
What are you doing?
But again, if we wanted to really like now for someone who really into that sort of thing and know that you can use regular alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and all these things to sanitize and clean and all those things, then kudos to you for not running to the store, running out to get all the toilet tissue and the this and the that.
Right.
Um, that at the end of the day, when we start thinking, these companies are making buku money off these
Who
pandemics because we're feeding into them. Now it's okay to make sure you stocked up for just in case of certain things, but why don't we just do that on a regular basis?
yes, because you should. And let me say this, and I said this to Cap the other day. When this pandemic is over, do not return your items to the store, because we do not want the contamination that you've taken it home and now brought it into. We don't want that.
Right.
You brought it,
Yeah, please don't.
you wanted it, and now you keep it. Do not bring it back to the store when this is over. Take it. Take it
Please
like a man, a woman, or whatever you are, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is.
Um, Hello, everyone. Patty Duke, Andrea, Miss T Velocity,
Hey,
all that
Andrea,
great
how you
stuff.
doing?
Welcome, everyone. But yeah, it is just, it's out of hand. I understand the fear, but that's the thing. You cannot operate on fear. When you
No.
do, you're going to go to the excess of everything.
Right.
You
And I,
cannot have faith and fear. It cannot coexist.
yeah. And again, I'm not one to get preachy or even to be preachy about it, but whatever faith or denomination you believe in, I don't know one that preaches of fear.
Right.
So,
None of them. And I've
right,
studied them all.
right, me too. So it's like I don't know one that preaches of fear. So do what you have to do to protect yourself and make sure that your family is safe. Other than that, go about your life, but make sure that you are protecting yourself.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
go to, the movie theaters and all those kind of things, so they're closing those. I know in Maryland they started doing that. So,
Hmm.
okay, cool. Make sure you have food so you can eat and things that you can cook or things that you can just eat if in fact power goes out or things of that nature. Do those things. But other than that, trust, believe, obey, and go about your business.
Yeah, because we're talking about a virus. The virus should not have the ability, unless there's a conspiracy, to make the power go out. We have to stop over exaggerating and overly perpetuating these things that come into the current situation that we're dealing with.
Yeah, yeah. Because at the end of the day, these corporations are making money. For them to sit down now, let's. I'm just gonna be very frank and real. All those corporations that was at the White House are all supporters of Donald Trump. Now we didn't have he didn't have a whole realm of all supporters, whether they supported him or not, to say, hey, we need to handle this. We need to make sure that people can go into our stores. We can no, these are all stores that supported him, and they all support him because they know he's a showman. They will. Hey, if you support me, I'm gonna put you in front of the camera so you can be at the White House.
Right,
And that's all these people are about. They're kind of mesmerized by the celebrity of the White House
right.
because it is a popular place.
Hmm.
But the problem is it's popular. The only thing that makes it extra popular is actually the people that reside in it. But he didn't get that. He just
Yep,
thought people were flocking to Obama because he was the president and that's what they was mesmerized by. No, they were flocking to the White House because the man himself was all those things, charismatic,
right,
polarizing, all those
right,
things.
right, right.
Mm,
Yep,
but he don't think that far. That wasn't his thought pattern. His thought pattern is, oh, they just mesmerized because he's a black guy. If I get in the White House, they'll be mesmerized by me too. No, no, not so much.
no, no,
Not so much. Not at all.
not at all.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the room. Queen
Welcome,
Diva,
welcome.
Auntie Donna. Hey, how you doing? Love you.
Triple Red X, hello, welcome.
Yeah, and congratulations on your monetization. You're doing big things
Congrats to
over
you.
there, and all of that. I mean, I like what you do, but I'll just stay in the bushes. I pop down and say hello, but up in the clouds I go. But yeah,
Well, yeah. So, I just whatever, closing out this virus topic, just be strong in what you do, be confident in what you do, be safe with what you do and who you do it with. And make sure that you yourself and your immediate family, specifically the ones who live in your household, are at the forefront of your list of responsibilities and protecting and providing for them, because that's the best thing that you can do. There's
yeah,
nothing that we can do to guarantee ourselves anything besides protecting our hands and sanitation and cleanliness. That's all you can really do. And you just have to, in my opinion, trust in that process and let that process be exactly what it is.
yeah.
And
We don't necessarily know who has what because we're not able to get tested. So people, you may have it because it's nothing but a bunch of viruses. It's the flu, it's the this, it's the that, all compiled into one virus. It is a
Right.
whole, it's a slew of viruses. So you may in fact have it and don't know it, but we can't get tested because somebody, is,
Yeah,
but
da,
it,
da, da,
please,
da.
please go, please, because I can go. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
oh
Um,
no, you fine.
but yeah, I missed some butterfly. Welcome. I saw you and I was holding on to you until I got around to saying it. But everybody, welcome because we once we get rolling and it's early, sometimes we get
Yeah,
lost in the chat. But yeah, so let's
I
move
ran away.
on into
Jay the
some
one, how you doing? Welcome.
wellness.
Go
Hey Jay, the one, how are you? So something I wanted to mention is mod appreciation. And it's not specific to anyone, but just in general, that I don't think that a lot of people realize the work that a moderator does on a channel and what it takes to actually be a moderator for someone who actually pulls numbers. So if
ahead.
someone has different TV shows or different events on that channel, the work that it does. And I'm not saying that the moderators, excuse me, the moderators need to be wold and need to give them gifts and cash apps, but sometimes just building a rapport lets them know that what they're doing is effective, and sometimes reaching out to them on another level other than just being in your chat and saying, hey, how are you doing? And just, sending an email or saying something simple like, hey, I really appreciate what you guys do, or sending a group
Mhm.
email or something like that. Because
Right.
again, moderators do sometimes work hard often and they don't really get recognized. It's almost like it's expected. So I know myself, and I say this not to put the focus on me, but just to bring light to the situation. I've been in a chat by myself where there were 90 some odd things and we had two hosts and I was the only one. And
Mhm.
not saying that I wasn't okay with it because I only do exactly what I'm okay with, but sometimes our mods work really hard on our channels and they don't get recognition. So just in being fair, just let them know, hey, I appreciate you. Thank
Right.
you. I appreciate you coming time after time, week after week, chat after chat, and doing what it is that you do. And I think that I know that a little bit goes a long way, and I think that just that little bit of appreciation would make the mods and various channels across YouTube feel like what the work that they do is valued. So I just wanted to put that out there, and hopefully, bridge the gap between the lack of connection that I see sometimes between mods and their hosts.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean I totally agree. I mean I try to do, as best as I can. I mean, I'm not rolling like the big dogs, but I'm a small YouTuber and I definitely reach out to my people. We haven't done any live chats or anything like that, but group emails, and all those things, because it's important. You want to make sure that you're not just utilizing the people that you have just as, oh, thank you, and peace out.
Right, right,
That it's a working relationship. They, help you, so you in fact, in turn keep a rapport and a relationship.
right,
Yes, there have been times when people felt slighted or other things of that nature, and went other ways and didn't start divulging information and all that kind of craziness. I personally, I don't. That's not a realm that I like to work in.
right.
I think of course, it's a business, so it's a business relationship. Um, and yeah, some people do get fired from jobs and they talk badly about the job, and that's kind of expected. But
It shouldn't be
at
done
some point,
in this kind of
it should be right.
yes,
Right.
in this kind of atmosphere it shouldn't be done. You should be able to work out whatever happened between you as a moderator and someone who
Yeah.
is the host of a channel between you
Right.
guys. You should not
Right. privately, and there should
Yeah.
never be any public uh, kind of discourse, or the public should not know about anything that has happened between um, a content creator and a moderator. It's a relationship, and it's a relationship that deals with trust.
Right.
So it's like, you should always honor that.
Right.
Um, and that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah. 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 Hey,
Yeah,
sister, thanks for dropping through.
like Triple Red X just said, yeah, you have to be careful with divulging too much to avoid mods touring. Avoid mods touring. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. It's just that I brought this up to bring positivity, not to bring negativity, because every mod on every channel does not do the same thing. So
Right.
there are total different ways that mods operate. So we're not going to go there because I do not want to get into the critique on someone's channel, because I'll leave that to the host of the channel to deal with the mods in the way that they choose. However, I think that there are some things that I want to shed light on. So again, I don't want to get into what someone's doing and how people act on that channel, because if it's not happening here, it is not important.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and I say that with a sincere heart, not to be shady or anything like that, but I'm
Yeah,
just,
no, I
uh,
totally get it. No, I mean, I totally get it. I mean, I, people have to understand that the moderator position, or given the blue wrench, uh, is that person trusts you. You know, that content creator trusts you, and it's nothing to be taken lightly.
right,
It's everything to be respected and to take seriously.
right,
So, you know, there will be some information at some point that one will divulge to you that should never leave um, your confidence, regardless of, it's something that you should just, well, I'll just take it with me.
right.
I won't say XYZ, I'll just take it with me. But, everybody kind of functions differently. And,
Yeah, they
I
do.
respect
They do.
what
And,
they do, but
hey, 7-7, hey, so grateful. I agree with that. I just wish that there was, that people would bring recognition to the functionality and the dysfunctionality of moderating, because
Mhm.
I see a little bit of both going on. So, you know,
Yeah.
um, I think the number one thing is to make the host guests to feel welcome, and then everything else
Mhm.
kind of becomes, the next thing. Just being engaging. Again, I'm not saying that it's anything wrong with the way that someone mods, but we could always look at things and do things just a little differently, a little better. So
Right. Very
that's
true.
all I'm saying.
Yeah. I get
Welcome,
it.
Kimberly Black.
How you doing? All right, so let's get into on the political side. Let's switch gears real quick, and let's talk about this Mitch McConnell. Okay, so what I knew of Mitch McConnell, because I came across a story a while back, maybe a couple of
Hmm.
weeks ago, that he was pushing federal judges through. They were paying. I know I've said this before previously on our show, that federal judges who wanted to get in and was basically, Trump supporters,
Hmm.
and who wanted the judgeship, the federal judgeship, were paying Republican senators, putting money in their campaigns and such, to where in which they would skate on through. Now, some of these judges did not have the credentials. You know, it was like, whoa, how did you even get this far? Kind of records. You know what I'm saying? Like remarks of racism, uh, kind of unequal treatment, a whole bunch of slam, the whole ring. You could, I guess, shake the blanket and all kinds of stuff come out. But
Wow.
um, a lot of the judges were like, there's no reason for you to even be considered.
Right.
However, these judges are being pushed through. So, and thanks to a lot of supporters of mine, and I'll give you a shout out, brother Nate, uh, Aaron, Jordan. Um, definitely sent me um, gave me a heads up about it, but then it popped through and I wound up reading it myself. Uh, he definitely is pushing this agenda. Like he's not worried about any legislation going through, anything of that nature. His whole main concern is pushing through federal judges.
Mm.
Now, federal judges, once they're in, pretty much. The new president can add more, but 9 times out of 10, unless they do something that is really like where they need to be disbarred or taken down, they really don't. But he is on this hunt too. And I just saw an article today, and I was also told about it, that they're asking, Mitch McConnell is asking all retiring judges or nearing towards the age of retirement to step down now so he can replace them. So if this doesn't have you a bit concerned, it should.
Most
Only because that if the push is created to have all the federal judges on a level to where in which they all follow the president, like there's nothing, it wouldn't matter what the Supreme Court does because somebody would always be there to debunk it. You know what I'm saying? So you get federal judges in a place where almost, and I mean not figuratively, but well, not literally, but figuratively, the Supreme Court would be obsolete. So even if they were able, even if at some point, you're able to get a majority that's more liberal on the Supreme Court, it wouldn't matter at that point because you have all these federal judges that they'd be playing ping pong with every law that went back and forth. It'd be like, nope, struck it down. No, well, I disagree. And you'd be going back and forth with all this. Yeah, pay attention. While all this stuff is going on, I know it's hard because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of undercover stuff going on. I mean, they're still talking about payroll taxes to pay. You know, they're pushing out this, we want this, what was it, 8-something billion or 800-something billion dollars for this stimulus that they want to kind of give to the people to give cash in your hands right now due to this pandemic. But understand, that's going to have to come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so while at the moment it may be extra money and you may praise him for that moment, it's going to come crashing down because that bill is going to be due.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be looking at an 08 situation, but real serious. It won't be, hey, if we don't do something now, it'll just hit us and that'll be it. And we already know he doesn't take responsibility or blame for anything. So don't look to say, well, Mr. President, it was your doing that you did this. So I'm just saying, just be mindful. There are a lot of things going on that people are trying to, while you focused on this, we're doing this in the background. While you focus on this and you running out here to go get toilet paper, we're making sure we're creating martial law on this end, because there was talk about a curfew, but then they totally knocked it down. Like, oh no, we're not thinking about a curfew. Believe it if you want to. They're thinking about a goddamn curfew. That's all I'm saying. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, like Andrew said, you cut food stamps, you're cutting Social Security because you want to cut the payroll tax. Because again, that's what we pay into. So, it affects the average working person. That's my whole argument in all of this. All of this affects the average working person. The people with the money or even enough money to kind of not even be worried about this, it doesn't affect them. It affects the working person. That is why when you sit there and say, oh, we have to shut down jobs for 2 weeks, or we may have to shut down the company for a week or a couple of days, or The only people that affect are the people that have to be the work to make sure that their family functions, period.
Right.
Not that they can sit back and go, oh, well, we got a couple dollars in the bank, we got a couple dollars in the house.
Right.
So we can work with that until stuff gets, really hard.
Right.
Well, people that have to go to work just to make sure that they can pay that bill that comes due.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These are the people that get affected by what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So it's easy
Yeah.
to say, oh, we're just gonna give out some money so everybody will be okay. Okay, you give out the money. How do people gonna get it?
Right.
How do
Right.
people gonna go to cash it?
Right.
Now, if you create a martial law, meaning basically everybody will have to be in by a certain time, you mean to tell me so everybody's gonna be standing in a bank? So if everybody's gonna be standing in a bank at a certain time, and you only got crowds of what is it, 250 or less that can be around each other,
Right.
you don't think everybody's gonna go run into the bank at the same time?
Right. And then people not going to think about they sick. They're going to think about the money. So I have money in my hand. It's burning a hole in my pocket or a hole in my hand. So we're all going to want to go out and cash this money.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
if you're sick, guess what's going to happen?
yeah, I mean, it's like a petri dish for like creating more disease
Hmm.
instead of if you create a package to where in which, all right, cool, not just federal workers, but all workers
Right.
should be able to get some sort of stipend, even if it's just for a certain amount of time. And then you have to go back later and go, okay, well, it's extended. So let's see if we can extend it. Do something.
Right. Right.
But because you took the tax break that you took early that you did earlier, okay, and you paid your rich friends with it. So now they're okay with voting for you again because you gave them something.
Right. Right.
They don't mind the CEO of Wendy's, all that stuff. That's why I don't eat there. But the CEO of Wendy's and all these other places, they don't mind supporting you and giving you fundraisers where your plates are $200,000 a plate for a fundraiser.
Right.
Now, mind you, when you were running the first time, you got billions of dollars in your inauguration fund that you didn't use. Where did the money go?
Right.
Why couldn't you use any of that? Because it went into your business. All this is to just pump up your own business, and it's really crazy. Like I don't even understand why I get why the government, especially his henchmen, are not at arms about this because they're making money too. He's sliding them money and sliding money to their states, so everybody's happy on that end. But at the end of the day, I mean, hey,
Right. But let's back up a little bit though, because we're talking about the parents that have to go to work and provide. But what about the parents that have to go to work and provide, but depend on their children to be able to go to school for breakfast and lunch to get a meal? And I know we've heard this throughout the news and probably even across YouTube, but some of these people who go to work and provide are dependent on the meals that are provided at school. In some states, I've noticed are doing bag lunches, but for how long?
mm-hmm,
And what risk are the children being put at to come and get these bag lunches?
right, right. I
You
mean,
know,
I,
no parent should have to feel like my child won't eat today because schools are closed. I
right,
know that they do. It's unfortunate, but it's not fair.
yeah, it really is. I mean, I don't. It's so unorganized and so at a level of like what the hell is going on that I'm just like constantly shaking my head at
Yeah,
the level of
yeah. I don't think he knows what's going on. I really don't. I question if he cares what's going on.
no.
I
I don't
think
even
that it's just a role he's trying to play.
he doesn't even. I said I don't even know why you question that because he doesn't care. Um, he doesn't care what's going on. He cares as much as how it looks to
Right,
the audience. I mean, nothing could give you that inkling into how he really feels, and him giving that address in the Oval Office, and then afterwards he's like, "Oh, okay, whew, like got that out the way." Like, who, what, what?
right, right,
There's something happening right now that's affecting millions of people, so probably even some people that you voted for. and you worried about keeping the numbers low so it doesn't look bad.
Right. Right.
But the numbers are, as we sleep, the numbers start growing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think it's going to stay
Yep.
low, you're sadly mistaken.
Right.
So I don't get it. Like, and it's not to pump fear, because, it's not about being fearful. It's just about knowing there is knowledge is power. And that is an age old saying. And it's very true. With the knowledge that you have, that's the power you possess. So it's not
Right.
about making anyone scared. It's about knowing that it's big out here. It's not even this is nothing to play with. It's
Right.
nothing to take lightly, and especially for people of color, being that a lot of us already have pre-existing conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, so on and so forth. Um, there is more reason for us to be a little bit more cautious about this than being
Mm-hmm.
so freely like, oh, it ain't going. I ain't worried about that thing. No, be worried about it.
Right. Right.
Be worried about it.
Yep.
Because if your churches can't even teach you things about diet, diabetes, health disease, and all those kind of things, and all they worry about is a building fund so the pastor can get a new car
Mm-hmm.
or fix up the church bench that's
Mm-hmm.
been in the church for God knows how long, and everybody been sitting on the rickety bench for so long. All of a sudden, now you need padding on that rickety bench. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
go sit down somewhere,
Mm-hmm. I just said the other day that I guarantee you that Sister Odell is in the church and she done went in there and got that toilet paper and she done went in there and got that Lysol out of that toilet paper stash that they have in the church because
in the
you know
back
they
room,
keep
right?
stash in the
And
church
took it home, right, and took it
and
home.
took it home.
Please.
So, let's stop acting like the church or going to the church is a selfless act because in all cases it is far from a selfless act.
Yeah, but a lot of the churches have made a turn. It used to be a place of um, community. It used to be a place of ground zero. It used to be a place of gathering to really strategize of how to move forward, even in the Civil Rights Act and other things of that nature.
Right.
But it has definitely got sensationalized by this ability to make money, not pay taxes on it, and then become huge
Right.
conglomerates.
Right.
Um, everybody's looking for it. Everybody's going towards that route. Now they'll quit
Mhm.
and be like, I'm not. That's not what I'm here for. It's not what I'm here for. But tell you the truth, I think a lot of them ain't telling the truth.
Right. Right.
So I
Welcome,
think,
DVD.
yeah, it was going on absolute. I think we definitely need to get back to a place where in which it is that the church is the center of the community and needs to start informing people. You need to be the educators, the informers of everything that's going on, not just certain
Yeah.
stuff, but
And start
everything.
looking to
Yeah.
give again and not receive.
I mean, it's yeah, definitely. Churches are the microcosm of the government. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I believe that as well.
Yeah.
But I just think it's time. We cannot you cannot just be a part of the community, utilize it for what you can utilize it for, have the politicians come to the community church to spew your platform, but yet you still have people dying from diabetes and other kind of sicknesses, and all these things running rampant through our community, to where in which something like this can come in and really truthfully, if we're not protecting ourselves, wipe some of us clean out.
Right. Right. But at the same time, though, on a mental health note, the yes, the church or people in certain churches, because again, it's not them all, they should be doing things in a way that you can be able to see both sides. But if you go to a facility to worship where you can't see how you can benefit, how they're looking out for you, how you can gain, how they care about you
Mhm.
beyond you just sitting in the seat, beyond you just paying your tithes. If when you're not there, they're not concerned.
Right.
I'm not saying that there aren't bigger churches that may not know you by name, but you should also know what to go to church and to get out of it, when to turn it on and when
Mm,
to turn it off.
yeah.
You have to know when what to decipher and what to digest,
Mhm.
because everything is not going to go the way that you want it to go. It's not going to sound the way that you want it to sound. Maybe that message that you're hearing is not for you.
Mm,
Maybe it's for somebody else.
right.
But you have to know how to take those things and how to make them apply so that you can get what you need to get, because you can't depend on anyone who can benefit from you to give you everything that you need.
Mm,
So that's the church. The church can benefit from you. There's money that comes from you. So I don't think that churches are bad places to be, but I also don't think that all of them are innocent. So if they can gain something from you, why would they not sway you in a way that can be beneficial to them?
right.
Just pay attention. Know who and what you're dealing with when you go and get involved into certain churches, so that you can make sure that you're getting grounded in the right way, if that's the option that you're selecting.
Right. Very true. Very, very true. uh, Cheers to our community for the most part.
Say that again.
No, I was just reading Lynn T's comment. This is more serious for our community than most. Our community doesn't have some of the same resources. Period. Yeah, right. And we don't.
That is true.
And that
That is
we
true.
don't. We don't have the medical facilities, um, the training, nor the teaching to teach a lot of the communities. Hey, what to look out for, what to do. Any of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and by the time people find out that they have certain conditions, it's pretty much, too late. I mean, so much so that I can go back home and drive a few blocks and see all these dialysis places and they're popping up everywhere.
Right.
And you're just like, what? Why is that? And then you
Right.
start to look at the business aspect of it. When you see a church, a liquor store, a church, a liquor store, a
Right.
church, a liquor store. And now you're starting to see a church, a liquor store, dialysis, church, liquor store. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. But
It's
you have to know, you have to educate yourself. So don't depend on the doctors, don't depend on the nurses or anybody to fully educate you on anything. Question everything,
right.
question all things.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
not depend upon your community to inform you in the way that you need to go. You have to really depend upon a little of both, maybe not even 50-50, but everything that you're fed, question it until you know the truth for
Right,
your own. You know that what you're saying is true.
right, right. Well, I mean,
So
the word itself says study to know thyself approved. So, I mean, and it's not even
everyone doesn't
about
study the word.
yeah, yeah,
So
everybody.
that might be the issue, maybe not. But
Yeah.
if we all knew those things,
Right.
then there's certain things we wouldn't question. But again,
I mean, because we
it's
take it too literally. At the end of the day, you are the church is you. The actual physical place you go to is just the building, but we
right.
always reference that as the house of God. So it is what it is. But I'm
If
not
I
gonna
can
go
only tell you how many of them are not the house of God, but we're gonna leave
house of a lot of other things, but not God.
that. It's a house.
Yeah. House is
It's a
something.
building, but it's not what it needs to be.
Yeah, very much so. When you're looking at you, don't be afraid to walk alone. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because it's gonna happen. You're definitely looking for the truth. You
You
definitely
know, Sandra, I being someone who has I'm 10 years in healthcare. I understand that aspect and I don't disagree with it. However, you can't really say that what somebody was born with, because sometimes as you age and sometimes things, you can be the healthiest eater and your kidneys still become an issue. I am a family member of someone who had to have a kidney removed, who was, and she was fairly young, but it had nothing to do with her lifestyle choices and her diet and things like that. I can't tell you how many patients that knew that if they ate certain things, that after, even if they didn't do it beforehand, but after being diagnosed with a renal disease, that they still ate it anyway. You know, there's certain things that renal patients are not supposed to eat. So they do it anyway. So it's not always diet before. Sometimes it's pre-diet. Yes, sometimes it is post-diet. But again, some that is possible to be diagnosed with something that you had absolutely no doing with, whether
Yeah,
it's kidney disease or what have you. Things do happen
yeah.
naturally. So
That is understandable, but I'm just saying, as far as what I've experienced and what I've seen for myself, if you go into communities of color, especially, I know for myself in Queens, New York, for myself, if you go into areas where in which I grew up, a lot of my friends grew up, there are tons, and they're popping up everywhere, of dialysis centers. They ain't just popping up because it's um, something uh, entertaining or fun to do. There's a
right,
reason for it.
right,
Now, it could be genetics, or it could be because once they filter your community with all that garbage as liquor stores and all this other stuff, then and diet as well. That we don't have, a lot of us don't have the healthiest diet, then of course that's where we're prone to. That's usually the next step. So hey,
right.
let's
Well,
profit off of that and make money off of that as well. So let's pop these up all over the place. So then, bam, we can get their money there too. That's
that's true, but again, just so we are clear, that liquor affects the liver,
liver.
not
Yeah,
necessarily the kidneys immediately anyway.
yeah. No, I know. Yeah, I know. But all I'm saying, it all, when one starts shutting down, they all kind of take that trip.
You know what? Not true. Not true. Don't project that. That
I'm,
is not true.
I'm teasing. But yes, a lot of people cannot afford the correct food and diet. And again, this is where the politicians come into play. And this is where you, as the voter, the person who they are seeking your vote, is when you start saying, hey, listen, my community store, my local store does not have the healthiest food, because the healthy foods, which is the store a couple miles away from me, cost a lot more that I
Yeah,
can't afford.
but see, I don't disagree with what Diva D said or Diva Didi said, but what I am saying is that, for an example, if we're talking about renal patients, which is people or patients who have issues
I'll be
with
right back.
their, okay, with their kidneys. So a patient who is on a renal diet isn't supposed to eat mashed potatoes. They need to have rice instead. That's a very small difference, a very small change, and a very small compromise for what a patient is supposed to eat. But I know for a fact that they eat it anyway, even if they can choose it differently. A renal patient isn't supposed to have orange juice. So if they drink orange juice versus pineapple juice, then that's going to affect their kidneys and it's going to affect their dialysis and their overall health and their lifespan thereafter. So there are little things like that that I've seen, I'm telling you, since forever, that patients come into the hospital and they choose. They even have people bring them food that they're not supposed to eat because that's what they're used to. So again, little small selections can make a big difference in your overall health, your overall diet, your overall weight, everything. So yes, the diet can be expensive for some people, but when it comes to small changes and small choices, it is ultimately your choice to make sure that what you're putting in your body is not going to harm you to a point where your kidneys are going to shut down. That is the choice that you have to make every day when you wake up. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that because, again, yes, the diet that is appropriate is not always affordable, but the little things that are inexpensive, you can choose to not consume or to consume, and you have to decide how is that going to affect your body and your overall lifespan because there are too many excuses as to why people do things instead of them just doing the right thing. All right. DVD said the organic foods that are available to are way too much more. Agree with this. And again, how do you organic food is more expensive, but how do you know that organic is the proper thing? How do you know that the foods that you're actually buying that are stamped as organic are actually organic? What does organic mean to you? How is organic changing your diet? How is organic going to improve your health? If you don't know that, then I question your reason for buying organic, because you're buying the fact that someone told you that organic was good enough. But if you don't know that for sure, then organic means nothing but it's a name that was sold to you as appropriate. So everything that's sold to you, you need to question.
Hmm. Good point. My thing came loose.
I grew up poor, but my mother managed to put healthy meals on the table. I got McDonald's maybe once a year. Yeah, McDonald's was a treat, Patty Duke.
Yeah.
So going out, it was who you got McDonald's money?
Right. I know.
That was a
Shoot.
treat.
No way in the world. My mother, you be talking about since you start talking about McDonald's, you better go in there and make that hamburger and the French fries. They're the same thing and they taste just like it. No, they don't, man. I'll take.
DVD, I don't want to make it seem like I'm going back and forth with you because I'm not, but I only speak on the things that I'm already educated on. So I don't actually need to read because I'm already educated on it. So I'm the kind of person that if I do not know, I'll step back, educate myself, and then I'll come back later on and come back to you with it. But I'm telling you that everything that you see, you should challenge. That's all I'm going to say. I cannot teach you everything that I know, but you have to look beyond what is available to you when you research it
Like
for your
granted,
further good.
with DVD's argument, organic fruits and vegetables do not have the pesticides, all the other stuff that is sprayed upon food to keep it preserved and all that kind of stuff. So you do have to, when you do buy it, you do have to cook it within a certain time. It has a shorter shelf life, all that stuff. So that is uh, the for a lot of reasons, a lot of people, the purpose that they go organic. However, yes, if there was a point where you did not have the ability to afford organic things, there are alternatives you can do and use that necessarily does not have to, well, you don't have to go out and get organic stuff because it is more expensive for a shorter shelf life.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm going to move on because I can see that this is going to be a back and forth, and that's not what we're here for.
Alrighty. Okay. So, uh, moving right along with that, I am pretty much finished with my topic. Did you have anything that you want to talk about? Anything
No,
other than that? If anybody has any questions, we can open up the phone lines. If you wanted to call in, so if you feel like you want to call in and whatever, we can put the number up and you can basically say what you need to say there. Otherwise, let me know. So I'll just put it up. And here it is. So if in fact you have any questions, comments, or concerns, um, or any information that you can share with the rest of the listeners, um,
yeah, please do come on through and shed some light, shed your opinion. Your opinion is welcome. We don't have to see eye to eye. We do not have
right,
to 100% agree.
you can
Feel free
definitely
to
agree
express
to
it.
disagree. It
Yeah,
is,
but there is a level of which once we establish that we don't see the eye to eye, we do need to stop because this thing going to turn into a never-ending argument, and that's not what we want to
right.
promote.
Yeah, definitely not what we're promoting at all. Um, in no way. It definitely is all about open dialogue and
Yeah.
respecting and to agree to disagree.
Yes.
Uh, we all don't know everything,
No. At all.
so
Thankfully.
so
Thanks, DVD.
but it is definitely it's definitely important to be able to bounce things off of one another
Most
and
definitely.
grow.
We
And
learn
it's the
something
way we
from
grow.
every conversation.
Right. It's the only way we grow as a people, as individuals, um, is by having those conversations and really, getting to the nuances of things. Because I can learn something new that somebody else, um, you know, I can learn something new that I did not know, and vice versa. So, never feel like your opinion doesn't matter or you're going to keep your opinion to yourself. Nope. Here, you're allowed to voice your opinions or or your grievances as long as you keep them respectful. That's all we ask. That's all that I ask. Anytime that I am on the screen, I, am open to whatever you guys have to say. However, just as long as you keep it respectful, that's all that matters to me. You know, because respect plays a big role. So phone line is open. So if you want to call and just say whatever, you are free to. If not, that's fine too. But anyway, we will just yeah. So
All right. Well, if
well, we've been on here for an hour and 6 minutes. I'll give it some time. If nobody calls in, is we'll give it a couple minutes. But if not, hey, it's cool. We thank you guys for always coming by and showing support, love with your comments, interacting with the chat. Is definitely important. And again, my whole purpose or our whole purpose is one to bring political awareness, two overall to bring mental wellness and understanding that hey, we need to do better as a people. Um,
yeah,
we need to do better. We need to focus more on our politics because they make so it sorry about that. So it doesn't so we can actually have a voice. I mean, you have all these different situations where in which we do not we vote for who we vote for, but that's it. We don't get anything. There's no benefit that comes to us. And we need to
right,
start really making sure that when we click that ballot or check that box, that these people are answering to our needs. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And stop just pandering to us because they know they have us in our back pockets. No, we're not.
right,
We're not going to do that.
right.
We're not going to do that at
Hey, Rebel. Yeah,
all.
and I try to, for the most part, stick with facts in our live on Tuesdays, just because with the nature of the most of the stuff that we speak about is not going to be helpful with opinion. So I try when I see a skewed opinion or a skewed fact, I try my best to correct it or make it general
Mm,
so that the people who may not be educated in the area do not take on what is being said as Bible, because nothing that anybody says is Bible. So, we can all stand to be corrected, we can all stand to be second guessed. And if you stand strong on something, you actually need to just say, hey, this is why.
right.
Because there's no right or no wrong. It's about can it be proven as a fact? And if it can't, it deserves to be challenged. So those are the things that I try to promote here on the live and even with I try to promote within myself toward other people, and I want people to promote toward me.
Right.
Because again, you may know something that I may not know, but I can tell you that if I'm standing strong, it's because I'm so versed on it and I'm so confident in my knowledge on it. But I want to share it, not to stand strong just in my knowledge. I want to share what we know with you guys. So I appreciate you guys to coming through week after week and listening and giving us feedback is definitely helpful because as we interact, we grow.
Okay. And I have a caller. Just give me 1 second and I will.
Okay.
Hello, caller.
Gentlemen, this is Nate. How are you doing?
How you doing, Nate?
Hey, Nate.
What's going on?
Hey, not a thing. Enjoying the show as usual.
Oh,
I
thank
just want to let you guys. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to let you guys know that you're doing a fantastic job. We definitely need more dialogue. Definitely.
Right. No, I totally agree with you, Brother Nate. And I appreciate your support as always. I just think it's healthy. Granted, like I always say, I think, the whole back and forth in the mess, for some that's entertaining, but at some point we need to take a break and really focus on what's really going on. Because if you go ahead.
Oh yes, this stuff out here is real, and these people aren't playing.
Right.
Yeah.
We really gotta get serious about a lot of these things that are going on. We just can't keep letting everything scoot by,
Right. They're definitely not playing with us.
Exactly.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah.
And an open mind, you always learn something new.
Right.
Exactly. Yep. You can learn something new from anybody and everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, that's all. Just wanted to let y'all know. Keep it up.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate it.
Calling in.
Okay. Take care.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Lynn T said we need more black male leaders and teachers in our community, or young men need more from us. That is very, very true. It's just, it's so hard to try to. The best thing I can say is in that area, I try to start with myself. So an example of that is what we're doing today. Some of the things that I do in my personal life with people's kids and my own family that I've done. I've tried to my best provide that example. One thing that I told to a new friend of mine not too long ago, actually a few friends that are new to me, is that I've already paid for my education. So if it's something I'm paying for my education. So if it's something I can give to you from what I've learned, why do you need to pay for it too? And that's just something I wish that everybody would take and pass along, is that sometimes we have the responsibility to educate people with what we know.
Right.
And we don't need to be a teacher, like sit down with the chalkboard, but just daily conversation can teach things. Cap and I've learned things from each other from daily conversation. And we can stand on those platforms of which we learn from each other now. So, I'm not saying that all of your friends are going to be nutrition for your soul, but it is necessary to have some.
Right. And we all both do our own things in which we help others in the community as far as having sit downs and all those kind of things.
Right.
So that's something that's not even a question, but it can be done. There's always more that can be done, but we have another call. So just one second. I just didn't want that background noise to be playing.
Yeah.
Hello, caller 4135. You're on.
Hello, Cap Hill and MrCredentialed.
How you doing?
Hey.
Good evening.
I'm pretty good. This is so grateful, so thankful.
Hey, so grateful.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
That's great.
Good.
I was just calling in because I know you had a conversation about, the community, the church, and what we eat, what we shouldn't eat. There's a lot of information that is out on YouTube, which we all search YouTube, and there's a lot of information that we can give to you about eating healthy and what to buy, what not to buy, and what the effect that it would have on your body. And working in the health industry, my healthcare company has events 3 times a week on the weekends, and they are very into the community and also teaches you how to eat. The flea markets. So there's a lot of resources that are out in the area or should be around in your area that can help you with that.
Yeah.
That is true.
That is very true.
That is true. So grateful. I think that I know that there are a lot of resources, but I think that people take them for granted and they don't really access them in the way that they could be. It's unfortunate, but I see a lot of it because you could even go down to your local church or your local hospital. They have free pamphlets from
Mhm.
dietitians about what to eat and what not to eat. And even when you're discharged, if you're a patient in the hospital, I think you should know that they send you home with discharge papers according to your diet. And it's just not being followed. I've seen a lot of patients come back through the doors and like, hey, you're back again. Yeah, I'm having issues with this again, but it's because of the diet that you're not choosing to follow.
Mm. Right.
So
And that's
I think,
and Mr.
yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that is so true. We have to
Hmm.
be held accountable for ourselves, and not put
Right,
our health in the hands of other individuals,
Right.
because they're going to tell
right.
us what they feel that we need, but our body lets
Hmm.
us know what it needs. So we have to pay attention to ourselves.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Very true. Very, very true. And sometimes I question if we know what our body is saying, when we know that our body needs water, when we know that our body needs more vegetables. Do we ignore it when it's talking to us? So those are some of the things that I think about a lot, and I wonder if people know how to tap into that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. I just want to hop in and say hello as well to the both of you. I'm always in the chat, but I never come online to say anything.
Yes. Thank you so much, and greatly
Yeah,
appreciate it.
most definitely. Thank you so much for coming on.
Not a problem. I'm going to hang up and hop back into the chat.
All right.
Okay, cool.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good
You
night.
are currently the only person in this conference.
Yeah, and to answer Sandra's question, there is a lot of refined sugar in our diets, and a lot of us are sugar babies, and you can't shake it. I mean, I've done it. I've coursed it down a little bit for a while, and then I wind up, breaking it and getting back on it. But it's definitely something about breaking yourself from it. It's a different feeling. It's a lot of things, and I kind of extend it to everyone to take a moment and try. It's hard, but try to shake yourself, even if it's small. If it's, you start off something small that you know that you like to eat a lot that may not be so good for you. Try just for a week not to eat it,
Right.
or to cut down on it, and you start to see over time that it's a benefit. It's a benefit physically that you feel. I think that we get to a place where in which we just eat and not really eating to survive. We're just eating just to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a whole survival thing. Um, I don't do red meat, and
Yeah.
that's the only personal choice of mine. But after a while, I just stopped. It was just like, okay. So now it's like it's not even a question. Like, oh, I don't want it.
Yeah. you know and we do have to make choices, just like the problem is that restaurants are making cheap food easily accessible, and the good food is not cheap. So you may go to Wendy's and get, what is it, a 4 for 4? But that 4 for 4, how many calories, how much fat, how much sodium is involved in it? So cheap food isn't, because I mean, again, it's okay to indulge in whatever you're going to indulge occasionally, but if that is your everyday, your every week go to, your diet that you go to when you're on lunch break at work, you might want to rethink that. You know,
All right. And with that, we have another call. Hold on one second. And caller 0619, you're on. Thank you for calling Politics and Wellness. Hello. Okay. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Yep. You're on.
Okay, I'm getting mixed up with the lady. I'm sorry. Okay, this is Andrea. I was in the chat kind of talking about health. I am a healthcare professional.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is a lot of my patients, they don't know, or they have different myths that they believe that that we do need to educate them on. I don't like to just say, oh, well, there's information out there, you should know it, because a lot of times people haven't had the exposure.
Right.
You're correct and it's correct that we do have discharge paperwork and stuff, but I've seen, people go through that discharge paperwork because unless you have an invested medical professional, they're not going to spend a lot of time. They're going to just fly through it, because they have a lot of patients that they need to see. And unless you have a chronic condition already, they don't always send you to a registered dietitian to help you. There are stages before you actually get on something like dialysis or become a brittle diabetic. It's just the investment doesn't come until you're on the dialysis machine or you're on insulin shots 4 times a day. And I love that when you know something, if you spread it, that's where the meat and potatoes come, is that when the people who are in the profession, the people who are in the fitness profession, look around and see who you can help. It starts small. We are responsible for ourselves, but I also think I'm helping myself as I help my brother or sister not to get a race. I'm just thinking about a human. Get to a different level. Small baby steps. You give them a big water hose of information, they're not going to catch it. So I love this conversation. I love the positivity, and I hope and pray that each of us, as we learn, we just continue to share.
Right.
I agree with that. I agree with what you're saying about the discharge papers, but a lot of time my biggest issue is that I've seen the different levels of the healthcare professionals come in and state the diet like you eat 3 times a day, and every day, every time that the person comes in to serve your food, they're supposed to tell you what your diet is, and you get a menu that you're supposed to fill out, and they're supposed to educate you. And I'm not saying that it happens all the time, because it doesn't. It's definitely something that it's not beefed up on, but I think that there's a lot more cases. There's probably a good portion of people not being properly educated, but I think there's also an equal portion of people who are not being selective about the education that they receive and what to do with it. And that's the unfortunate. I wish that I knew how to reach people beyond what they get. You know what I mean? Like I want to make such a big difference, but people have to just make a choice.
Right. I agree with you on that. I have seen a lot of medical persons. For me, when I'm teaching a person, sometimes I get, like, hey, they're not getting it in this direction. So I'll try another direction. And you have those that really want to learn. And then you have those that are just like, is my appointment over?
Right.
And I just kind of encourage myself and say, hey, maybe I'll get them next time, or somebody else will get them. I'll plant the seed, and then I'll pray that it's watered and it continues to grow. So I used to think you will learn this and you will obey. And now, those who are supposed to hear it,
will
they will hear it,
Yeah.
use it, and use it. And those who don't, they maybe can't learn it from me. They can learn from somebody else. So
Right.
that's kind of. So I agree with all your points. So you do know the frustration of healthcare.
Yes.
So this is just, I have no disagreement with anybody. Everybody, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys go.
Well, we appreciate your feedback. We definitely appreciate everything that you brought.
Thank you so much. We definitely appreciate
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Yep. Oh, that was good. I really enjoyed this. I don't know. It's really exciting to actually hear you guys and hear your thoughts. It's always great to get you guys, with your typing in the chat, but to actually hear you go back and forth, it's awesome.
Yeah. Personality and bringing a personality to the chat is. Yeah. It's definitely awesome. But like we said, we so appreciate the feedback,
Hmm.
because again, every time we have a conversation, we learn something. It's thought provoking. It pushes us somewhere that maybe we haven't gone before. Maybe we haven't gone to that level before. So it's so much appreciated, and I look forward to the interaction that we have every Tuesday because it's vital. It's necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely vital. And then with what's going on right now, it's more vital than it's ever been before. And again, like I always say, I am fine with the other stuff. I just don't participate in it. For me, this is more important. And granted, I know I
Right,
don't get a big audience, but what I do get is enough. Um,
right,
because at the end of the day, this is serious. This matters. Um, you know, at the end of the day, God forbid, if something was to get worse than this, they ain't worried about who's beefing with whom. Okay, that's the least of anybody's
at
worries.
all.
It's about get to safety, make sure you're safe. Do you have anything that you can go with right now? So yeah, it's really
Right.
definitely very.
Thanks, absolute. But and the thing I want to stress again is that a lot of people, only the people that are on here beefing, know that there's a beef. There is no such thing as what's going on, like negativity out there. People don't visualize YouTube as in that way.
Yeah,
Most people
yeah.
use
Thank you
YouTube for
very
their
much.
personal
Thank you
needs,
so much,
whatever
Patty
it is.
Duke. Yes, it is 8:05 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday.
Yes. I
Yeah.
was wondering what the
So,
805 mean.
oh, did you freeze on us? Yeah, Mr.
Me?
Credential froze. Are you back? Okay, there you go.
It didn't freeze on my end, but
Oh, if yeah, it froze on I. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sometimes it does that.
it's
Uh,
weird.
yeah, it is. But I mean,
Thank you, Sandra.
I'll definitely leave the lines open for 2 more minutes because we've been on here for almost an hour and 28 minutes going on, and I don't want to hold you guys too long. I know other people have other things going on, so I don't want to hold you guys too long. So, with that, while we're waiting on that, is there anything that you have coming up this this week, or anything you have in the works
Uh,
that you
Say
want to?
that again because it kind of broke
Oh,
up on my end.
okay. I said, is there anything in the works that you're working on that you want the people to know about, or do you have anything else going on?
No, not at this moment. It's nothing else that I need to share at this moment.
Okay, cool. As for me, of course, I do your midday news at noon. Um, I am not necessarily live. I'm live in the chat because, of course, my news is pre-recorded um, to try and get it out to you while you're at work or you're on the run or whatever you're doing. Just brief. It's nothing like really long. Just try to give you as much update or as brief story just to get to the point or make you go, let me look into that. So that's your midday news that I do every day, Monday through Friday, because I need a break too. but seriously, Tuesdays is, of course, politics and wellness with Mr. Credential. Thursdays, I am a member of the Gentlemen's Panel. That is a panel with open discussion. We talk about everything that affects the community as a whole. Um, and what else is there? And the recap on the weekends. The recap is everything that's happened during the week, um, and it's from any genre. If you think of it or I think of it, it's out there. We can talk about it. That is an open weekly review. And other than that, that's all I have that's going on.
Okay.
Pretty much, I guess we reached that 2 minute mark. So
Yeah. Hey,
um,
Wigs.
I will shut this. Hey, Wiggs, how you doing? It's nice to see you. I will shut this down, and we can close it on out from here.
Thanks, Absolute. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming through and showing your support.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing your support as you always do. We greatly appreciate it and look forward to seeing you guys every week. And, if you can, um, if you're watching this on the replay, leave a comment. Let us know what you like, what you possibly didn't like, or what you would like to um, like to maybe hear us talk about, or something that you may know, again, to bring it to our attention, so then therefore we could talk about it and address it.
Yeah, because there's so many different things and so many different tiers that we can address politics and wellness on that sometimes it's so overwhelming when deciding which thing we want to speak on today because it's all necessary. I know sometimes weekly there's some topics that I don't discuss that I carry over to the next week just because I want to dedicate the appropriate amount of time to each thing. So, and it's not a bad thing. I actually like it, because I like having more content than not enough. So
Mhm. Yeah,
that's about it.
very true. And that's awesome. That's because that's how it should work. I mean, it should work just that way. But sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't quite. But anyway, with that said, that's all we have for this week. I am your host, as always, Mr. Credential. I mean, Mr. Credential.
So you meet today, okay.
I know, right? I'm creating Christian. My co-host, Mr. Credential, is what I meant to say. Of course, that's what was in my head. Um, and of course, like always, we'll see you same bat time, same bat channel next week. Anything you want to say, sir, before I hit the intro or
Thank
outro
you guys
button?
for coming through. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right. Good night and God bless. All right, guys. Have a good night. God bless. Peace.
Saying good night, guys.